Staten Island, home of the Verrazano Bridge and the Wu-Tang Clan. The island we've come to love has deep history embedded into its roots. In the good and the bad, we cherish Staten Island to be our home. But now, we're here to walk you through the lesser-known secrets Staten Island has to offer. Our expedition consisted of trips to the Conference House, the Tibet Art Museum, the Moravian Cemetery, Fort Wadsworth, Alice Austin's house, the Chinese Scholars Garden, Garibaldi Mucci Museum, historic Richmond Town, and Sandy Ground. We'll begin with our trip to the Conference House and its history. First stop is Conference House Park, located on the south shore overlooking the Raritan Bay. Our reporter, Frank, is here to fill us in about the site's history.
I'm reporting here from what may just look like a boring old crusty house. However, this house is extremely unique and has a lot of history behind it. This house was originally built by Captain Christopher Billop in 1680. It was originally intended to be a wheat farm. However, it was also used to hold a peace conference between the four founding fathers, so Staten Island can remain loyalist. Unfortunately, the peace conference has failed, and a really unique fact about this house is that the peace conference shares the same date with that unfortunate event on September 11th, as the peace conference took place September 11th on a Tuesday of 1776. I am Frank, and I'm here reporting from one of the oldest mulberry bushes in the United States. This tree is approximately 300 years old. It was most likely imported from the Old World, and that's all I have to report on this very unique tree.
The Jacques Tibet Museum is like no other on Staten Island. Located on Lighthouse Hill, it is a mainstay for Eastern cultural activities like Tai Chi and meditation. Holy figures of Tibetan Buddhism often come visit the museum. This adds to the dedication Marquis envisioned her museum would hold.
Jacques Marquis Museum of Tibetan Art. Now, as you may not know, Jacques is actually a woman. However, her masculine name is due to her father's not wanting to sully the family name. And she founded this museum in 1945. And the reason behind it was that she loved Tibetan art, and it was her passion to collect it. She accumulated over 1,000 pieces of Tibetan art. And another fun thing would be that she actually has never been to Tibet before. So she wanted to make her passion live on by establishing this museum to show all her artwork that she has collected. And this is, not only does it feature her art, it features very elegant gardens. Unfortunately though, after the museum's, 4 months after the museum's opening, Jacques died.
A former farmland, the Moravian Cemetery is located in New York. The Moravian Cemetery holds one of the most famous families in New York, the Vanderbilts, and sections off their grand mausoleum.
I'm here in the Moravian Cemetery with all this gorgeous scenery. This cemetery houses 70,000 bodies of deceased. It mostly the oldest resident who was buried here is Nicholas Britton, who was buried here in 1740, the same year the cemetery was founded. It features a lot of different architectural tombstones. As you can see, it features limestone, copper. There's a lot of history behind it, and a lot of people, someone asked, is there any famous people here? And to be honest, like, everyone here is famous in their own way, and they have their own stories.
Fort Wadsworth holds the record for the longest manned military installation in the United States. It was once captured by the British during the Revolutionary War, but by its end, it was handed over to New York. Since then, it served many military uses until 1994. Now it is part of Gateway National Park. The most historical structure in the fort would be Battery Weed, a 3-floor fortification guarding the Narrows. Annually, the New York City Marathon starting point begins at Fort Wadsworth since it has become part of the park.
Hi, I'm here at Fort Wadsworth. This extravagant fort was built in 1663. It was originally used by the Dutch, then the British, and finally the Americans. A fun fact about this place would be that there was a cannon here, and it was last shot during the Revolutionary War when Britain wanted to have the last shot against America.
Now let's hear what Frank has to say about Alice Austin's house.
Hi, I'm here at Alice Austin's house, and Alice Austin is a truly exceptional woman. She was the first woman in her time to own and drive a car. She also excelled in photography. She started at the young age of 10 years old, and she learned to develop film from a chemistry teacher. She specialized in taking photos of arrivals on Ellis Island, shoeshiners, and policemen. Unfortunately, though, her work was only truly recognized for its immaculate beauty 1 year before her death.
Next we went to the Chinese Scholars Garden located inside Snug Harbor, and is one of the best Western translations of an Eastern garden consisting of a bamboo forest, antiquity pond of koi fish, and a beautiful inner garden within a Chinese construct.
I'm here in a Chinese scholar garden, which its architecture is based from 14th to 18th century garden. As you can see over here, these rocks are from Lake Chai. And this garden is very unique in many ways. It has a unique element of revealing yourself slowly to the people with its pathways that curve ever so slightly. And this will also use the ward off evil, so they believe evil can be walked in straight lines. This was built in a span of 6 months by architects.
The Garibaldi Mucci Memorial is based on the house lived in by Giuseppe Garibaldi and Antonio Mucci. Garibaldi ultimately led to the unification of Italy. He is called the Heroes of Two Worlds due to his additional efforts in South America. He resided in Staten Island from 1851 through 1853.
Hi, I'm here at Antonio Mucci's gravestone. Now, a lot of people don't know, but Antonio Mucci is actually the inventor of the telephone. He created it in 1850 by electrifying a copper wire. A lot of people believe it was Alexander Graham Bell, but Alexander Graham Bell actually just patented the idea. And you can see this is Antonio Mucci's gravestone right here.
Next we'll be looking at historic Richmond Town. Once populated central Richmond Town has been restored by the Historical Society on Staten Island.
Hi, I'm here in historic Richmond Town, and this place has a lot of different unique attributes that people did in the past. For starters, Staten Island was actually really renowned for their oysters, and everyone loved oysters at the time. And they would use a rake to rake in all the oysters. As a bonus, they also would be able to get pearls, because they wanted meat inside the oysters, not any of those pearls. Another interesting thing would be that lobsters were considered a nuisance at the time, so they would usually feed them to prisoners. Like, imagine how lucky you would be to be in prison at that time. And also, there's a lot of other terms, like, for example, bars are also from taverns, because taverns usually featured the back out, like this room, which had all the supplies, which the bartender or like owner would like steal the room with bars just in case like any hooligans were trying to like do anything or like injure the person. And there were also many different types of baskets during the time, which were each weaved with wood. And also, another interesting thing would be that women weren't allowed to possess land or property or have any money. However, there was a loophole, which is through inheritance. If their husband died, they would be able to receive the land. However, if they married, it would be snatched again from them. This is truly a wonderful way to like have seen back then how people lived and how much simpler it was at the time.
Sandy Ground is among the oldest communities in the United States, founded by free African Americans prior to the American Civil War. It served as an important stop in the Underground Railroad. Several of the community's historic structures still exist: a church, cemetery, and 3 homes. Some residents also live in the original community. Early settlers were skilled in the oyster trade. They expanded the skill upon others, and harvesting oysters became popular in Staten Island. A fire at Sandy Ground took 100 homes and caused $2 million worth of damage. Today, Sandy Ground is a cultural preservation center with events going on year-round. We interviewed many of the native-born Staten Island people, and one response was common among them. They miss the old rural life of the past. Today, Staten Island is full of shopping centers and suburban life with little remnants of the forested borough before. The older community really value that nostalgic feeling, as it is being ripped away as Staten Island is becoming more like its 4 siblings. These secrets mean so much to the development of Staten Island. Luckily, there have been movements based on the preservation of these historic locations. Exposing the history and the hidden gems of the island make it a much more enjoyable place to live and be collectively active, as through this journey the McCown Intensive took away something that they hadn't before.